Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another wonderful and exciting episode of the League of Extremely Ordinary Gentlemen. This is volume, 3?
3.
Episode 3.
Whoa!
So it's like 999. It's awesome. Except
Wait a
not.
minute. You turn it upside down, and it's 666.
Oh no! That must mean something.
Once you add like the 2 and the 1 in there, it's not really.
All right, Dan Brown, enough out of you.
It would mean something if it meant something.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
We can
No,
make
no, no.
this work. We can make it
It's
work.
meaningless.
Grant, it's 2012 when the world ends,
I
right?
think-
Tell everybody.
Volume 3 plus episode 3 equals 6. And
And you double that, and it's 12. And 2012 is when. It's the Mayan
Yes.
calendar
No,
or
no, 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 no.
Nostradamus?
2012
12
is a album by Rush.
12 times
Oh,
2
right.
is one of the
That's
numbers
2112.
inscribed
Yeah,
on the
2112.
hatch.
this is like the number 23 that ridiculous Jim Carrey movie where he's like, I'm finding the number
you-
everywhere. I'm like, yeah, it's just if
Yeah.
you really make it stretch, I'm sure you can find 23 in anything.
It's a prime number, genius.
Well, I was like, hey, dude, yeah, it's my birthday. What the fuck?
Which is funny because that 23 thing has been on for so long that it's turned into a running joke in entertainment that a lot of shows do intentionally use it because it's kind of funny. Like it was Fox Mulder's apartment number, and that was very intentional.
you
42.
big nerd.
But yeah, it goes all the way back to the Illuminatus Chronicles by Robert Anton Wilson.
Dan Brown. Bo, you were so on it.
yes. He's
Yes.
coming out with a new book about Masons. So he's
What
done,
a shocker.
He's done ripping off people that are right about the
Will he have a
Vatican.
giant
Gonna rip off
crazed
the other people.
albino in this one? I mean, every one of his books has some kind of
Yeah,
crazed
this one has
religious
got
figure.
a tattooed eunuch.
There we go.
Maybe Dan Brown is actually Michael Moorcock.
Wait a minute. Can anyone prove him wrong?
Has anyone seen the two of them in the same place at the same time?
I don't want to fall back on the flying spaghetti mythos rule, but the flying spaghetti monster, but that doesn't prove it so.
Well, okay, fine. You're saying that proof of absence is an absence of proof. Or...
You know what I'm talking about. But anyway, let's get on to the subject matter for tonight. Right after we go around the round table and tell everybody who's here, I, of course, am Cyrus. Sitting
I am Grant.
Sitting to the well, Jason's here. Wait, we don't want to go like all over the place here. Jason.
I want people to know me.
Hey, what's up?
Jason, am I right for following up?
Grant.
Kristen.
Boom.
Harris.
Randy.
Leon.
And on the guitar is Greg.
Let's guitar talk for him. Really?
It's a little guitar exclamation point there. It's more of a comma.
You should
really.
somehow
that was-
play your name out like in Morse
It's funny. I
code.
never had a guitar tell me to fuck off before.
That was actually more of the guitar equivalent of showing a dog a card trick and having him look at you and go.
It's a mathematical equivalent
Both
of
so
fuck
nice.
you.
He said a dog.
I have a voice. Hello.
Did you see that thing where somebody was taking pictures of birds sitting on wires and
Oh, that was
translating it
cool.
into musical notes, and then it was like, wow, this actually is a song. It's like, that's kind of cool. But you're like, okay, well, that's just random chance. I'm sure if you look at the next group of birds, it's just.
Well, shit.
The birds have been trying to warn us that they're going to kill us for a long time.
You act like you don't live in the age of Photoshop. There's like the whole video where the cat plays the piano and a symphony orchestra plays against him. But it's like, yeah, I'm sure you superimpose that video of the cat playing random notes on that video screen. In front
Really,
of
Leon?
That cat
Are
is
you
very
sure?
talented. Yeah. That cat is super talented.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
That cat's going on tour with Kanye
Pretty
next
sure
year.
that's
Come on.
Listen, cat, I'm gonna let you finish, but first,
Sure, you have a brain the size of a walnut. But of course, you can play Chopin, please.
They're channeling the spirits of our ancestors.
Actually, oddly enough, Chopin also had a brain the size of a walnut. It was just filled with music.
Well, he
little
kept
stumpy
All nutty music.
It's true. He kept it in a jar on top of his piano.
I got this out of my cat.
But we're here this week not to talk about Chopin or Birds on a Wire that actually translated said so long and thanks for all the seed. But we're here to talk about television because really the new season, the fall season, is getting ready to start here, and most of us are pretty much big television fans.
Whoa! I gotta stop you,
Not Leon, apparently.
Leon actually objects to being called
Cyrus.
a
I
fan.
have got to stop you, in as much as we had a mandate from the people that we always talk about comics.
Why do you keep coming back on this? We talked about comics the last 4 episodes straight.
Because people always say, like, why don't you guys talk about comics?
You really don't think at some point we'll go, hey, and he looked like the Silver Surfer, or
Sure we
or
will.
Bo will make some Dennis Miller type reference to an obscure event in Amazing Fantasy number 13.
No, we can tie it back
my
in.
God.
We can tie it back in.
That's just like when Joe Slynot stubbed his toe in the Marvel bullpen and lodged a pin deep in his Stan Lee's brain.
Exactly.
No, we can tie it back in though because there's The Walking Dead is being turned into a TV show now.
In fact, there's another one too based on a DC
Wow, are there
character.
any other horrible ideas that are happening?
No,
that's a good
You
idea.
say that.
You're
But if
mistaken.
you've ever
You
watched
shut
any of the
your
shows on
lying mouth.
AMC,
What's that?
if you ever watched any of the shows on AMC,
Hell yeah.
namely Mad Men
No,
and Breaking
is
Bad,
AMC doing it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
AMC
Yeah.
with
How heavily involved is Kirkman?
Frank Darabont
Totally
is,
involved.
is
Yeah,
running
Frank-
it.
Then this is not a horrible.
and Frank
Yeah,
Darabont's
no.
writing, directing, and executive producing it,
Yeah.
who is like the choice, the
Yep.
guy to do
Yeah,
it.
it's gonna be great.
And
I think.
Kirkman keeps saying, I was actually very upset when they were talking about doing this as a film because I was like, look, this isn't the sort of thing conceived like that. If you do that, it's just another zombie movie.
Exactly.
As a TV series, it's exactly what the comic achieves. It's a
Right.
long-running story about people and the problems they encounter and the fact that
And the
title,
horrible things that happen.
well, that is the one thing about The Walking Dead. It's the only comic series that I love that I stopped reading because it
can't-
got
yeah, it's
too
horrible
dark.
to watch.
If
yeah.
you have any kind of human soul at all, you will it's like being beat up by a loved one.
Well, God, I read The Road, and The Road is like light comedy compared to Walking Dead.
It's like your grandfather who you dearly loved, who taught you how to fish and shoot and never laid a hand on you in his life, all of a sudden came back to life and ate your face off.
That's funny, Randy.
The
You
only
say,
thing
the Road is like a light comedy. It's like all of a sudden, compared to The Walking Dead, it stars Bing Crosby and Bob Hope.
Patty cake.
I just want to see what's going to happen. I want them to have like a little countdown timer to see who lasts longest on there.
Yeah,
exactly. They'll have a site you can place bets.
it's the greatest show. It's the most well-reviewed show that loses viewers every week.
It's like, man, even the guys who survive lose at least a piece of themselves.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They're going to have to cut that down a little bit. They're going to have some kind of standing cast.
Zombies.
I really hope that they're just taking, they're going with maybe the first 13 issues or so,
Yeah.
and then from there going in a different direction.
Yeah, I think they
not
have
because
to.
there's anything wrong with the comic. It's just there's so many ways this story could go. Why not
Right.
tell a slightly different?
Well, think
one?
about this. Because it's a comic that's not afraid to kill main characters, you could get higher A-list actors who come in for just a little bit, knowing
Yeah.
that my story arc is only for 3 episodes.
Yeah, outside
Yeah.
of the main 3 or so characters from
That's
it, it's
true.
like anyone else is wow. It's really kind of a crap.
That's true. Yeah, you can hire quality actors because you can just say, "Hey, look, it's 3 episodes. You got time for 3 episodes."
Yeah.
yeah. I like the idea.
No. It's a smart choice to make into
Yeah.
a TV show. I think you're going to see a lot more of that too. There's another thing from HBO called A Game of Thrones, which is
God.
based
that?
on
I haven't heard
well,
that
it's
at all.
based on George R.R. Martin's fantasy series, A Song of Ice and Fire, which is
It's a great fantasy series.
Yeah.
It's got better moment-to-moment writing than any fantasy book I've read.
it's kind of a Tom Clancy set in a fantasy world, if you
Yeah.
will. It's, a very political
it's fantasy for
maneuvering.
people who really hate fantasy.
It's very
Oh.
much the medieval. I mean,
Sounds like me.
it very much is sort of a medieval area. I mean, the people do not do well if you're not royalty, and if you're royalty, you're going to get screwed by the royalty. I mean, there's a lot of political maneuvering. There's a lot of wow, if you weren't rich in this time, it's really bad for you. But it's also got this big epic sweep of kings and houses, and it's really, really good.
and eventually
Is
builds
this during the
towards-
Reagan era?
but the casting so far is fantastic.
Well, yeah, it's let's see, it's got Peter Dinklage as
Which is
Tyrion
perfect
Lannister, who
Ooh.
plays sort of like a dwarf who is liked, but he's kind of behind a lot of the political maneuvering that's
Right.
going
You
on.
ever
He's
think
very
that
devious.
all the other dwarfs and midgets really hate Peter Dinklage?
Probably, yeah.
Because man, that guy has really learned to make himself like he's almost a sex symbol. Like there are women who think he's sexy.
No, it's funny if you don't realize he's a dwarf. If you just look at his face, you go, "Hey, that's,
he's a good-looking guy."
That's a handsome guy." Not that he's not handsome for being a dwarf, anyway. But I'm just saying, you wouldn't. He doesn't look like. He looks like a leading man.
Would anyone
Yeah.
like
Where
where
is this
address
tall?
so that you can send us your tiny threading letters and bombs?
Hang on a second. We got to get a shovel so Cyrus can dig himself a little deeper.
Bo, they write letters the same size as the rest of us.
It's terror in Tiny Town.
But honestly,
They're not going to send you just a postcard.
Billy Barty was the last successful midget or little person.
Yeah.
I hear they hate midget.
fetish doll joke somewhere.
Who? Billy Barty?
Yeah, you remember Billy Barty?
Come on.
No,
what
the
about
guy
Willow?
Willow. The guy, what's his
Warwick
name? He's
Davis.
in everything.
Did
Warwick
that guy commit
Davis.
suicide?
No, he's still in
I
the.
believe,
He's in that
I
Harry
believe
Potter
Keaton
episodes.
Baker was
Movies.
the keeper of the standard for a while. Come on.
Well, he wasn't in much outside of Star Wars, though,
Yeah.
really, as far as big, well-known
Warwick
things.
Davis
he was
is in
in
a
a
He
lot
lot
was
of
in
Harry
Time
Potter.
Bandits, motherfucker.
He was at a lot of comic conventions I
And
went
then,
to.
yeah,
over
a
the
lot
years.
of, yeah, so's Lou Ferrigno, okay?
And no one has anything unkind to say about Lou Ferrigno. He's a big man.
But, no, what's the other guy
Well,
who
it's
was
not like he's
on,
gonna hear it.
who was on Austin Powers and all that?
Vern Troyer.
Vern Troyer.
Oh,
yeah.
He's technically not a midget, is he?
Well, I
he-
thought he was a midget.
Or a
and
little person.
I thought he's
Yeah.
He's like an extra little.
I mean, he's probably
person,
the
I think.
most successful at the moment, but that guy's all kinds of
I don't-
fucked up.
it's, yeah, that's what I hear. It's no offense to the little people who they like to be called, but really, you prefer that to midget? What the
Yeah, I don't
hell
understand
is
that at all.
I don't understand
You know,
that.
every 10 years the PC word changes and you just roll with it. I have a friend who's from Korea and she was introducing a really old friend to me and she's like, "Oh, so and so knew me back when I was Oriental." Because I'm Asian now. And
See-
it was just such a good like point. I'm like, yeah, I know. Why do these things change?
Yeah, if you're going to choose names, I suggest for next one, Awesomlings. I would like to call Awesomlings.
That is good. I
Go
like
with something
that.
better.
Well, I mean, it's true, but like Asian, I can understand, except for the fact that like Asian also includes Indian people
Yeah,
who are not what we
exactly.
mean when we say
They
Asian.
could give
Exactly.
midgets a name like a sports reference, like Bunts. That's easy to say. I'm a
But
bunt.
seriously,
We are.
I mean, but
Once
little
again.
little people sound so demeaning. It's like I wouldn't call somebody that. Oh, you're a little person. That just sounds
I
bad.
know that sounds awful. Whereas midget's like, okay, well that's like,
Yeah, okay.
that's a scientific.
You're the kind
term.
of person who's like proportionally the same, but you're smaller, and the dwarf has the big head and the little body.
Yeah.
Well,
now,
I
dwarf
think-
I can understand being a little more weirded out from because of
Sure.
the cultural references like Snow White. and
Yeah,
stuff
because it's
that.
like, well, dude,
I don't know
how
how
many
it
diamonds did you
got
mine this
here.
morning?
All I know is that as soon as we get out of here, I'm gonna go buy some fucking shin guards.
All right, well, going back to Game of Thrones.
Well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
No.
I blame
come on,
Leon for asking us to talk about comic books.
Going back to Game of Thrones, it's also got Sean Bean from who, of course, was in the Lord of the Rings films as
Speaking of
Boromir.
hobbits,
yes, playing Ned
Again,
Stark.
perfect
Handsome.
casting.
I have a man crush on him.
As the bitch character, because Sean Bean plays that in every movie
He does,
in.
does poor
Yeah.
bastard.
Apparently, nobody's seen the Sharp series from.
Oh, yeah,
BBC,
that's
which
true.
Is awesome,
Excellent.
And he is nobody's.
And I
best,
hear
my
there's
friend.
new ones about to be in production as well.
Yeah, there are. I know one came out last year, and I think it hasn't been shown in America yet. So.
It's one
Okay.
of those things slowly growing steam over here. BBC
Yeah.
America just picked it up to start running them, so that's good.
And you
but
can, you
this
can
is
see
also
them all on YouTube. Go
Okay,
check them out.
This
okay,
also
so
got
you
Lena-
two guys and Nick Hodges. can
Yeah,
go like,
right.
Hey,
We're
Sean
in.
Bean.
Actually, my friend Astra, she loves him too. But Lena Headley from Terminator,
Terminator, yeah.
Love her.
is playing Cersei Lannister, and the pilot begins filming in October to see whether or not HBO likes it enough to go for a whole series. But
I've
one of those
read the
ones,
script.
fantasy fans are really psyched about this.
Yeah, I've read the script for this one, and if they actually film that script, it's going to be great.
Well, I'm glad to hear that because I had not read
It's-
the script.
Yeah,
and-
it's really, really
The
promising.
only thing I pray they include in this pilot is just, and I'm not gonna spoil it because it's a big moment, but anyone who's read the books will understand this following phrase: "Oh, the things I do for love."
It's in.
Oh, thank God.
It's very Shakespearean in a way, the
Hoorah!
whole series, and it doesn't like it's easy to forget it takes place in a fantasy universe. It's like it mentions offhand every once in a while that there used to be magic,
Yeah.
and it's not even until like the very end of the giant ass second book that anything vaguely fantasy oriented
Right.
even happens.
Is it Shakespearean like Deadwood was Shakespearean?
No, not in
Or did
verse.
they speak in iambic pentameter?
No, not in verse,
but
in concept.
yeah.
Well, Deadwood didn't speak in iambic pentameter.
No, but it was the
Yeah, exactly.
but it was
They do
the-
cocksucker in
But
it
it
a
was
lot.
the cadences that were compared to Shakespeare
Okay.
and iambic pentameter.
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 I feel like Jason.
Your stairs.
How's the back of my head doing there, Jason? Is it all right? It's doing a good job. All right, cool. Well, I guess we'll stay on HBO for now and move on to, of course, The Pacific, which is the follow-up that people have been waiting for years for Band of Brothers. It takes place in the Pacific Theater with the Marines, basically the war with Japan, and it's the same producers. It's one of the main writers. It's got a ridiculously gigantic cast. It's another miniseries, and I don't know. Have you guys seen Band of Brothers?
As
Oh,
far
yeah.
as far
Yeah.
as I'm concerned, that is the if you want to see anything about World War II, just watch that. You
Hell
don't have to
yeah.
watch anything else. Saving Private Ryan, don't even. It's So well made, such genius, and a great cast of a lot of people that have gone on to do bigger and better things. And you can look for, there's all kinds of people that are kind of making cameos, and like Simon Pegg plays a clerk, and
I
he's
love
just
him.
just kind of shows up here and there. Damian
Lewis.
Damian Lewis is one of the main characters. That was kind of his first big breakthrough roles.
Ron Livingston.
Yeah,
Also really
Well,
good.
yeah.
Ron Livingston.
Well,
Yeah.
he already
Office
broke
Space.
through with Office Space.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
he
that
was
very
Big
shortly
time.
after.
Right.
It was. You're absolutely right. It's one of the few miniseries I ever went back and watched again
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's just so great on every level. And the
I
idea
so missed
that
the boat
there's-
on that.
Did you never watched it?
I didn't.
You really
Oh,
have
yeah,
to.
I've got.
I
it.
saw a
You wanna
little bit
borrow
with
it.
David Schwimmer being an asshole on it.
He was great in it. He
Yeah.
was actually really good in it. Yeah.
Yeah, David Schwimmer plays the original platoon leader and company leader, and yeah, he's kind of a well. There's no kind of about it.
Yeah.
He's a weasel.
Yeah.
But he actually, because they hate him so much, they become a really cohesive core. So it's just brilliant. It's I guess it's 12 episodes, and yeah, every one of them is just jaw-droppingly good.
Yeah, I
And,
can't wait for Pacific.
I
That's
know.
Great.
I
Yeah.
mean, like that type of quality is one of those things. Like I'm almost afraid now to watch this because it's got such a giant shoes to fill, such a thing to live
Dude,
up
don't be
to.
afraid.
Don't be afraid.
We,
Don't
we
be
need some
afraid.
good stuff.
That's not what Yoda said.
Well, now, have you seen the HBO just announced something? I think it's a Prohibition era crime show by Scorsese.
I didn't see that.
It was recent.
What?
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember exactly what it's called. It's just started development. But
Wait, there was crime during the Prohibition,
I know,
That
you wouldn't
couldn't
think.
possibly be true. No one was alive then.
but that and
but they outlawed drinking. How could there be?
I
crime?
was.
and I don't know if anybody listens to.
Wow,
You
you've
did
gotten
it
that
yourself.
desperate. You're doing your own old age jokes.
I was
now.
waiting
You
for it.
guys all make them. I might as well jump in on it.
Grandpa Leon, what was it like when you had to hunt dinosaurs for food?
See, they're gonna have to come up with the mythology of where the spoiler. The whole thing is he hates his own powers, but he can't help it because he's actually like 160, and the only thing that keeps him young is putting on the magic ring, which turns him into the spoiler, where he can't help but tell you the endings of shit.
Oh my God, you're like
Wow.
Puck from Alpha Flight.
Do you have? Is this written down somewhere? Are you pitching this, Cyrus?
I'm just making this up as I go along.
But they also, I don't know if anybody listens to Dan Savage, the
Oh,
the
yes.
sex columnist. He's got a pilot on HBO.
I did not know that.
And so there's like all this stuff coming from HBO. I'm like, damn it, I'm going to have to buy HBO again.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
HBO is one of those like,
If it ever
wow,
comes to
remember when
be-
they were fantastic?
Yeah,
Right.
HBO
Dude,
kind of dried up for a
they
while.
did.
No, no,
They
no,
really
no.
did.
So
HBO, they have a way of like keeping things going. Like as much as I hated the first season of True Blood, I still watched them all just because like I just want to see how bad the show is gonna get. Second season, I totally fucking loved it. It owned me. Every week I would look forward to watching it on Sundays every night.
Why don't you actually talk a little bit about that? Because I don't know anything about it. I watched the first episode and went, okay, that was bland. And people keep telling me, no, the second season is great.
No,
True
no, no.
Blood it's based off of the Charlene Harris Suki Stackhouse novels. And it's
I'm sorry.
It's fun to say.
Harris, you don't know what you just stepped into.
Does she?
However,
does she live on a house that's made out of gingerbread?
I'm sorry. See, you haven't been here long enough, but you have just appointed yourself the guy who's going to explain something, which means everyone steps back and lets you do that while they take shots at you. So please,
so it's gonna be like being back in high school again. Awesome.
tell us about the first season.
Well,
of True Blood.
yeah, or prison.
yeah, what happens in this?
What's the difference?
Great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to break a chair over someone again.
Or in someone.
Please
Go ahead.
Continue.
Ew.
Explain to the audience in the room
Yeah,
But it,
the True Blood, the first season.
the backstory that you walk right into with both the books and with the TV show is that the Japanese invented a synthetic blood substitute, originally supposed to be for like surgery or whatnot. So if they didn't have your blood type, you're not going to die because you have AB negative and nobody else in the immediate area has it. But the fact that they created this artificial blood means that all of a sudden vampires start coming out of the coffin, as they call it, and like admitting to the world that they're real. It sets up this weird social-political vibe where they're trying to get equal rights with everybody else, but they're dead, so how do you handle
I am
things
not
like
a
inheritance?
vampire. I am a vampiric American.
Well, wait. The great thing is right before the first season, because I love that show too, is that they started off with these little mini episodes showing commercials for people that were for vampire rights, people that were against vampire rights, and that's what sucked me in. It was beautiful. Because
Sucked you in.
yeah, wah, 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 no. But but go on. But
Fuck you guys. Anyway.
fuck you.
How dare you? How dare you try to diminish my diminishment of you?
Gee, let me go back to my paying gigs, please. Then.
All right, we're just going to be counting down
That-
until
that-
someone actually says this show bites.
That fucking. Oh god.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah, the
please.
whole thing-
I feel like co-host should be here.
Hey man, I went through it with Batman R.I.P.
You did. You were the first.
Well, granted, we had much richer material to mine. The whole mind of Grant Morrison, for example.
Don't worry. The level of crap that does come with this series is mighty indeed. The main character Suki, everyone get it out of the way. Okay. For reasons that are left unsaid until much later in the series, is a telepath. She can read other people's minds. What? And
Well, she's
yes,
not a
that's
vampire.
wacky in a world with vampires.
So they do give a reason for
Don't
that?
be
There's some-
ridiculous.
You
there's
gotta
some
draw
more
the
to
line
it?
somewhere.
Oh yeah, eventually they do.
Hey man,
explain
I gotta
why.
say, like Anna Paquin is like the hottest butterface girl I have ever seen in my life.
Her face isn't
Butterface?
bad. What are you talking
Well,
about?
it's not the face.
You never
it's-
heard Butterface?
It's her
I
teeth.
have
You know,
not.
you go, man, that girl's got an awesome body.
Butterface. It's that giant gap between her
Yeah,
teeth.
yeah.
You
It's the
expect her to start whistling every time she
she's
says an
got
S.
kind of a pug nose, and she's got a big gap. And I can get over the nose. But she's got a big gap between her teeth.
But it starts growing on you, doesn't it? You watch
It
and you're
does.
like, you know
It
what?
does.
That's
I mean,
kind of hot.
I mean, it is one of those things where you look at her teeth and like the tooth says next tooth 1 mile, but you get 3 episodes in, man, and like you don't even care. It's like, God damn, this chick is hot. I mean, I know she was a little girl when I first saw her in that movie with.
Go ahead, you're
Oh, yeah,
a
the
pedophile.
piano.
Just
That's
say it.
all. That's always a plus, actually.
Fly away home.
Yeah, because
Fly Away Home, thank
No one in
you.
this room wants
Pervert.
to have sex with Emma Watson.
Well, is Grant here?
Or
oh, yeah, there he is.
Or
Okay, yeah.
Christina Ricci.
Or Christina Ricci.
I told
Oh,
you that in
fuck,
private.
dude. Christina Ricci. Good
Man,
lord.
and when you
That's
see Black
gross.
Snake
Moan,
moan, you're
yeah.
just like, oh god.
You're just having
Man.
sex with the forehead. Just
Yeah,
the
I
forehead.
just want to
Turned
rub
on at the
the
same
oil
time.
all over
Even in the
that
opposite of
giant
sex,
cranium
you're
of
just
hers.
like, so like,
Her face
oh,
is too small.
This is wrong, and I could focus on the fact that she's like not really slim, but
Her face
she's
isn't too
sexy.
small. It's just the fact that her boobs are like pumpkins. They
Yeah.
make it look too small.
They do admittedly take away from paying attention to her face.
Yeah, the only problem with her is that she's got too many clothes on.
Yeah, that's true. I do have that problem with her. She needs to address that.
The new one coming up the pike is scarily enough Dakota Fanning. I don't know if any of you have seen any pictures from
Dude, no,
the
I'm sorry,
Runaways.
I can't go there.
Yeah,
No,
Sherry.
13. Stop.
She's
13.
playing. She's playing Sherry Curry in the remake of the
I
Runaways.
do not find her attractive.
That's all right.
Yes, because she's 13.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, Cyrus,
Safe.
you might not have been watching True Blood, but like in the later episodes in season 2, Evan Rachel Wood shows up as the queen of vampires with this flaming red hair. I didn't even know it was her at first.
all
All I
over
thought
now.
was like I saw her and I was like, dude, I am not into redheads, but this is the hottest chick I've ever seen in my life.
Not as hot as the redhead from Mad Men, but still.
No. Actually, you see in True Blood, she's above that. Like to me,
she?
like Christina Hendricks and Mad Men, I thought, okay, she's the top. And then you see Evan Rachel Wood in True Blood. It's like, nope, here's the new queen.
It depends on if you like curves or not. If you like curves, you go with Mad Men. If you like kind of thinner, you go with.
I probably like Mad Men better than.
If you
Greg
like someone who
I-
actually
I
let Marilyn
seriously
Manson
doubt it.
fuck her, then yeah, go for it.
You know what? Seeing her in True Blood, that's like the one time I thought, like, Marilyn Manson, fuck him. I'd still take sloppy seconds.
But you know what I want to know? What makes the second season, other than that, so much better than the first season? Which I
Bro
thought
gets her
was
tits out.
The first season was very to me was very clumsy. You had like a lot of people with accents. They're all Southern, but maybe 2 of them are Louisianan. There's so many that are from Georgia, Kentucky, Tennessee. I'm like, hey, you know what? People from the South kind of recognize these dialects, and they're all over the place. They do a lot of lip service about the whole vampire rights thing on the periphery, but in the actual episode, they don't play into that at all. There's a lot of characters who are unlikable. One of the main characters, Tara, she's an asshole from the very beginning, and she never becomes likable. And there's so much that's going on. Like the one actual Cajun guy, it turns out he's a fake. He was listening to like Cajun for Dummies tapes. Wait, this is seriously. I'm not even joking. It actually is like the big reveal.
This is in the bayou, and there's only one Cajun, and he's not even a Cajun.
Yes,
What do you have
exactly.
to say about that, Kristen?
Bullshit.
Yeah.
bullshit.
That dead
the,
bullshit.
The whole romance between Sookie and Vampire Bill,
Sookie.
it just seemed not so much forced, but it just went on forever. It was syrupy. It wasn't. You know what? I just wasn't with it. I wasn't liking it at all.
When it started out that way, of looking like it was just yet another lame vampire romance like Twilight or whatever, that's when I went, yeah, this is gonna suck. No pun intended.
That's
Well,
the thing.
I'm sorry.
That's-
I'm
no,
sorry,
no, no,
It's
no,
gonna be
no.
lame.
But that's the thing.
They blaze through the whole, look at you sparkly blood drinking My Little Pony, and they go pretty quickly into a lot of really interesting parts about the world.
Well, the one thing you guys are forgetting too is that outside of the which I thought was interesting was outside of the fake blood is that humans were killing vampires because their blood which was V
Is
a
addictive.
big addictive sex kind of ecstasy times 50 type drug, and there was like this underground war which kind of goes into season 2 because that big queen is allowing one of the particular.
Whoa.
Whoa, the spoiler
Well, now
just
I'm
turned
gonna
into someone
watch it.
else.
Well, gee whiz! It was the last season. The season ended over on
Some
Sunday.
people are DVD only type people.
Greg, that was
Yes.
a week ago.
Yeah.
Give people a break.
They don't even know what I'm talking
The
about.
spoiler is telling you, dude, come on.
yeah.
Wait, but
And
wait,
that day, kids spoiler
Is this just
was
a
born.
black thing?
yeah, we both showed up on time. We spoil movies,
Yeah,
we
these
do. That's
things
what we
showed
do.
up early. I was
That's
gonna have
what we
to
do.
change the entry in the Urban Dictionary.
No, I won't
No,
go there.
don't
No, I won't go there.
Don't say
But what made the second season great was like because the way the vampires are laid out, like they all have their kind of chiefs of the region, and the one guy that's above Bill, Eric, really got developed in the second season, and he's just a really he's insane. He's crazy. You think he's this really big tough guy, but then you see him broken down when he starts crying a little bit, and I'm
Leon's
sorry.
gesturing for the mic.
I love
Give me
it.
my damn mic
I
back.
love it when you're like, no, I'm not going to spoil it. And then everyone braces themselves because they're like, I bet he spoils it. I bet he's going to spoil something.
It is the kind of thing like.
And this time he didn't. I'm
like one of the
impressed.
characters who was like one of the most hated characters in the first season has this total turnaround where he's become maybe my second favorite character, if not my favorite character. No, Eric.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, Lafayette is still my favorite character. He's-
Lafayette is the best character on the
I
show.
mean, he was like the character like throughout the first season when I hated it, I still loved him. He was probably what kept me watching it the whole time. Okay.
No one can hear him. He's not on mic.
I know
It's
nobody
okay.
can hear him. Anyway,
Does someone recognizable play that? The Lafayette?
no. Well, his name is Nelson Ellis, and he was in the Soloist, playing the guy who ran the homeless shelter.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean this guy. Like if they would ever do a biopic of the life of Isaac Hayes, this would be the guy.
Yeah,
to play
we were
him.
the only guys who actually saw the solo.
That's true.
So,
Yeah, like even Jamie Foxx didn't go back to see that. But he's such a great actor. He really pulls that character off, and he was a great character who wasn't annoying. He was interesting enough that I kept watching it. And from what I hear in the books, he gets killed off early. But this guy is so good.
they're almost certainly going to find a way to keep him
They,
alive.
they keep him around and make
It makes him
interesting.
sound like a Benjamin Linus to me.
Oh, will you stop? We'll
Stop
get
it.
to Lost eventually. Your time will
Who's Benjamin
come.
Linus? I've
I
never
know
heard
it's
of that.
about all
Yes.
TV
But the thing is,
Yes.
I will
Well,
tell you that like
We're never going to get to it because this is the longest explanation of True Blood, a show that anyone can just go watch.
yeah,
like any other
please,
show.
all I would
As
tell you is
opposed to
like
Lost, where you have to climb a mountain and fight a dragon and answer the Cave Trolls 3 riddles. Before you
Shut
get
the
first
fuck
DVD.
up, Harris.
No, that's just what you have to do to
but it is
understand
worth
it,
it.
Harris.
Hey, wait a minute. Yeah, Harris and Randy, you guys are new. You don't.
Yeah,
need to
you
tell
guys are
Randy
the
to shut
noobs.
fuck up.
You
yeah,
guys,
you guys are the ones who get to have to fight the gauntlet.
you guys
there
are supposed
just
to be on
not
the couch
low
taking
man.
these shitty seats. What are you guys even having chairs?
They
You
sat
guys
down
supposed-
first.
Go get us a drink.
All I can say, True Blood just wrapped up, had the season finale,
And there is a season 3 on the way.
Yeah. Oh, it has to be. But clearly with the first season, they established all the stuff they need to do. They laid the groundwork, so now they can actually get onto the good stuff, and it is really good.
Okay. But, I don't think it's going to be, I was like, all right, yeah, I'm kind of interested. Maybe I'll go back. But then I heard about a show that sounds much better called The Vampire Diaries. I
That
can't
does not
keep my
sound
straight
better.
face
Yeah,
when I
That
say it.
sounds like Twilight.
Are we
This
going
is
off of
Twilight.
HBO?
No. We're just dancing around.
Is
where
that an
it's
HBO
appropriate.
show?
No,
Guys.
it is not. It is on the C-Dub.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
And look, a writer from Dawson's Creek. My, this must be great.
Well, it's Kevin Williamson, who at one time was considered to be like the great hope for horror. Gullar when he did the Scream. People were like,
Right.
"Wow, this was clever and
Oh, that's
funny."
right.
And it
he
was all
He
downhill
was the,
from
he was the
there.
Great White Hope.
Yeah, and then he did Scream 2, and we were like, "Well, that was still kind of funny." Yeah. They did Scream 3, and we went, "Huh?"
They also did that
I thought
Invasion
Kevin
of the
Smith
Body
did Scream
Snatchers
3.
ripoff that went so well.
Yeah, and he did I Know What You Did Last Summer, like, what, 4 times or something? I don't know. I didn't even like the first one, and I like Sarah Michelle Gellar. And then he went on and did Dawson's Creek, and it was like, okay, clearly horror was not your interest here. It was hanging around a lot of teenage girls.
And who can blame him, really?
I love that.
I mean,
Clearly, you're not here for the honey.
But he is the showrunner, producing and writing this, starring Nina Dobrev. I don't know if I'm even saying that right. From Degrassi, The Next Generation. Really?
Oh, that
There
chick's
was
hot.
there was
It's
an-
Dawson's
I don't
Creek,
know.
Canada.
Aside from the fact that Boone is in this, who cares?
Yeah, well, he plays one of the. I think he's the evil vampire brother, and she's a girl who's like a human loved by 2 vampire brothers, and who are fighting out for the control of her
Popeye
soul.
Bluto.
And if that doesn't tell you enough about why you shouldn't be watching this show, I'm not sure why you're listening to this podcast.
people, there's
There's a
perfectly
joke
good
about double
public
penetration
access.
to be made, but I am not the man to make it.
But a show that does seem good is called Human Target, which goes back to
Ooh.
comic books.
I love Human Target, the comic books.
Sure, it's a DC comic
graphic
originally
novels.
by Len Wein and Carmine Infantino.
I never read those, but the newer
old
ones,
ones.
like
The
Peter
Milligan.
Peter Milligan.
Yeah, I love those.
on the Vertigo line. The idea being that what's his name? Shit, I'm sorry.
Chase?
Christopher
Mark
Chance.
Valley.
Oh.
Mark Valley, who in the show Fringe played the significant, like the
Oh,
boyfriend.
that guy who
who's-
was
who's-
on Boston Legal?
Yeah, he's on Boston.
He
Yeah.
played the boyfriend who keeps appearing in flashbacks and hallucinations through the whole first
And he's
season.
dead? Or is he?
Yeah, he's dead. Or is he? He appears as the main character here, who is a private detective and bodyguard named, as Randy said, Christopher Chance, who impersonates his clients in order to eliminate threats to his principal. And like I said, it was a Vertigo series. The show's going to be on Fox Wednesdays, except the pilot, which is on Sunday, January 17th.
He seems like a good casting
And what was
choice.
funny, I had heard about this, and it seemed like a cool idea because the book is great.
Right.
But that it originally there was a pilot on ABC in 1992 with Rick Springfield
Indeed.
playing the lead role. But this is cool. It's got Chi McBride from Pushing Daisies.
Shy
That
McBride?
large black man. Is it
Yeah.
Chi or Chai?
Shy, like
Is it Shy?
Chicago.
How do you pronounce
I've
C-H-I?
pronounced it both.
Shy.
I have no idea.
It's Shy, I
Is
think.
it shy? Is it?
Shy
Kai?
McBride, like
Key?
Shy is short for Chicago.
I don't know.
I think
Yeah,
I looked
maybe
this
it
up
is.
before and it was
Is it?
Shy.
Is it okay?
I'm not going to say.
I
it.
could be
Call
wrong.
the brother Shy right now.
But either way, he's awesome.
He is
He's
awesome.
on there. Jackie Earl Haley
Which
plays
is
one of the
great,
main roles
yeah.
on here. I mean, like, damn, this sounds like a fucking winner.
My
It's it's Fox, which means it might only get 3 episodes, but
Yep.
still.
Well, however,
Yeah,
it's on a
this one's
Wednesday
getting a
night
Friday
as
night
opposed to a
death slot.
Friday.
Wednesday's a great night for shows. Wednesday and Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it seems to me like we think we've got a winner slots.
my only problem with this one is that I've heard that instead of doing he impersonates the target, he impersonates someone close to them, so that he basically so if it's like a chef who's gonna be assassinated, he becomes like his sous chef.
Right, instead of the
And I'm
guy
like,
himself.
I like the idea. I understand because they want the main actor to look like the main actor and not like whatever actor they've brought in. But it's kind of a bummer because a lot of the stuff with the comic was the identity stuff, and he'd get so lost in the role he'd forget who he was. And I don't know if they're able to do that with him impersonating random guy next to the target.
Yeah,
But
no,
it's
you're
still,
right. I mean, and apparently there's they're going to really get into this whole mystery of his past. Like,
Yeah.
who is this guy? How did he
Yeah.
even, and the idea of building on that, which is, speaks to the kind of show I usually enjoy where it's like one long story type of thing.
Right.
I mean, there's another show that's been doing this really well lately that
Christian
Leon and
Slater,
Larry-
my own worst enemy.
Yeah, no, that was not the one I was thinking of. I could use that to go into Christian Slater's new show, The Forgotten, but I'm not going to. Instead, I'm going to talk about Chuck, which is another
Oh,
show
yes.
that mixes perfectly the running storyline and
Chuck's
the
not
episodic
coming back
nature.
until next year.
It isn't, but we're
a
just
lot
talking
of
about all
stuff
the new
isn't, yeah.
shows
Okay.
that are coming.
Fair
and
enough.
Chuck's is one of those shows started off almost entirely episodic and went into a this backstory is pretty damn good, and the fans
yeah.
really like this.
Yeah.
And the idea, Leon, why don't you tell a little bit about what the basic concept is for those who haven't seen it?
Well, the basic concept is that Chuck was a guy who, he gets into college and there's a test he's supposed to take, and his best friend kind of screws him. He sets him up as a cheater, so he gets tossed out of school, and steals his girlfriend. So he's kind of relegated. He's like, "Fuck, what do I do now?" He goes to work at what's essentially a Best Buy.
Yeah,
It's one of the
Buy
Geek Squad.
More.
Yeah, except yes, Buy More, and it's the Nerd Herd. and his best friend sends him an email. And he's like, this fucking guy. And he opens it, and it flashes in his brain all the government secrets of every secret agent, every assassin, everything. It's some experimental thing. So now he's got it all in his head, and the government has to like send 2 agents to work with him to keep him protected, but also use him to get this information out.
One of which is Adam Baldwin, of course, much
Yeah.
beloved by us Joss Whedon fans for his role in Firefly.
And
Yeah.
the other is,
And-
Yvonne Strahovski, super hot.
Oh,
Yeah.
uber hot.
Redefines hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, it's a funny setup because you've got the identifiable character. This guy's essentially a nerd, but not like a loser nerd. Just like
He's kind of like, what's that guy's name from Scrubs?
oh
Zach
yeah,
Braff.
yeah, Zach Braff.
He's like a more likable Zach Braff.
and taller. Jesus Christ, he's
How
tall.
can you be
Everybody-
more
did
likable
you
than
meet him
Zach
at Comic-Con?
No, but apparently he's quite a large man.
He seems like very tall and lanky.
He's very. The thing is, he's got like Zach Braff did, but sort of lost when he got kind of more arrogant. It
Yeah.
seemed like he's got that eminent likability.
Yeah,
you
he
just
does.
like him.
You just love
He
Chuck.
feels like a guy that we would hang out with and we'd just have beers with and we'd laugh and go, "Oh, man,
I
that guy
don't
is
like this
awesome."
guy.
You
I
know
don't care
who-
for him
he's
at
like,
all.
You know who I like? Benjamin Linus.
Well, you know what?
Yes!
It would totally be one of these things where like there'd be a knock on the door, and you'd open it, and it'd be Grant. It'd be like, oh, we thought you were Zach. Never mind. Come on in.
Who is this?
Zachary Levi.
Zachary.
He's
Chuck,
the lead
the
star
head
from
and Chuck,
the lead
lead
guy
and
from the
Chuck.
show Chuck.
Oh yeah,
Which is what we're talking about right now. But in season 2 started getting really intense with the plot.
Man,
it
did it
brought in
ever.
Chevy
Yeah.
Chase as a villain.
Yeah.
who is just knocked it out
Well,
of the
forget
park.
Chevy Chase. It brought in Scott Bakula
Yeah.
as
Oh,
his
yeah.
dad.
Oh,
yeah.
Scott Bakula.
Who is just man? Scott Bakula's making a comeback.
He
right
really
now.
is
Good for him.
in a good way.
Yeah, he
Good.
is. Yeah, he is. He was like, you know what? Maybe that whole Star Trek thing was a mistake.
Hey, but you can't blame him for that. It seemed good at the time.
No, I can't-
And
I
he
would've-
was never bad in it.
I would have done the same thing. I
Yeah.
would have put on the
Yeah, it's
funky
not his
head
fault.
makeup.
but
He
it
did
did
good.
kind of leave a
Yeah.
stink.
You do that on the
him.
weekends.
Yeah. Well, it's like someone said, it's like Star Trek only mixed with a Skinamax film. No, that's a terrible idea. Don't do that.
You know, one of the things I love about Chuck is they have a ton of 80s references in it, not in cheesy ways, in sort of this comedy, but they did an episode that was a riff on Die Hard.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they had Back to the Future references. They've used 80s music like Huey Lewis in a way they're like, hey, you know what? I kind of like Huey Lewis.
No, Chuck is one of those shows where like
And they earned my love forever when they used "You've Got the Touch."
Yeah, I mean,
they have a
it's-
good.
it's
They
a
do
geek
have a great
cred
use
show.
of music.
I watched Chuck totally by accident because I heard Kevin Smith had a show he was producing. It was supposed to be good, and I thought Chuck was that show.
It was Reaper.
That was Reaper.
Yeah, and when I saw Reaper, I was like, I don't like this Reaper show. But this Chuck show,
Yeah.
man, this speaks to me.
I actually do like Reaper, but Chuck is really great, and it's evolved. At first, I had
Yeah.
doubts about it. I was like, this just feels
Yeah, I
like.
remember I had to kind of talk
no,
you into it.
It felt
I'm
like an old
dude.
'80s show. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's cute, but I'm gonna lose interest. And it does actually finally really gets on track with the running plot. And then in the 3rd season, which is going to be coming up in March or sooner, they're saying.
Well, it's 13 episodes.
Yeah, but they're
'Cause-
now saying if it's
'cause-
successful, they're going to give it another 9.
Well, good, yeah, because they were close to canceling it. So they say, okay, we'll give you 13, and we'll make it leaner and meaner.
It was the biggest fan write-in of all time.
Was it really?
Yeah, the fans went insane, and they were like, it was like one thing after another of like thousands of people showing up outside of the offices of the studio and stuff. And it was just they just kept going with it, and eventually they signed a sponsorship deal with Subway. And this is really the first time this has happened since like the early days of television with a
Right,
show.
that's true. Like
so
a
it's a
Milton
little
Berle show.
It's a little awkward. Like, okay, so now Subway is gonna actually be on the show on some level. I don't know what is that gonna
No,
be?
I mean, Ford did that with 24. That's all of
true.
Mad
Yeah.
Men. I mean, that's the whole thing with Mad Men. And a lot of the real things in Mad Men are part of the product placement. I mean, that's the whole business.
No,
thing.
no,
Yeah.
there
But, I mean,
is
they're
like
there's
separate.
going to be a Subway on the show.
Yeah.
Like one of the characters going to work there.
No, that's what it looks
Well,
like. it's
yeah.
gonna
Well, I
happen.
mean, it's the same like when
There's
they're
a difference between like products paying for small placement, like, hey,
Right.
we're going to mention Dr. Pepper and then being we are sponsored by Subway. Period. And Subway has
Subway's
signed a deal to be an
okay,
actual
gotcha, okay.
a
Yeah,
large
it's
part
like
of the
Subway
show on some
presents
level.
Chuck.
Oh,
Wait,
that's
you know
cool.
what? Though
Good
we're
for them.
dwelling on the Subway part here, but I think the part of the fan standing up and making there be another season. Like I'm so blown away by that
Well-
fans have this power and it's so important. And I think anyone who's a fan of anything, that's why the Serenity movie happened. I'm assuming that's how Dollhouse got back on again, and I think more of that needs to happen.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want some fucking corporate dude telling me I can't watch my show anymore when I've got.
Well, it's all
Nielsen.
based
Where
on,
you guys
on
were
ratings,
pushing
and
daisies.
clearly they aren't putting the Nielsen boxes in the right houses.
Hey, we just finally got our first
wait.
invitation.
I got mine
no,
too,
wait,
and I'm
wait,
like,
wait.
I don't have TV.
Wait. Let me. I can. This is part of my real regular job is studying all this stuff. One of the things that Nielsen does all the ratings for anybody who doesn't know that, but there's this whole thing called the 3-screen report because because right now they only get ratings off of TV, and they're trying to develop ways to measure TV shows that are on the internet and mobile applications too. Now there's another corporate.
Yeah,
there's
it's
another
gotta be really hard to put like a screen counter.
No, yeah,
on
I mean,
there.
but they're developing it because with all these fans and stuff that break the model of not going home and watching appointment television where they can watch TV the whole time. They can watch TV whenever they want to now, but they're trying to be able to measure that. And actually, NBC and a bunch of other advertisers are forming like basically a rival to Nielsen because. Like, what's one of the things about NBC that's going on, like, I know nobody talked about it with the Jay Leno thing, is that you have a strip block of time that those shows are a hell of a lot cheaper to produce than, like, the dramas. And that's the big experiment right now that, if the Jay Leno thing, which doesn't have any, which is really cheap to produce, is that going to replace drama?
Wasn't he supposed to retire quietly?
I know, but Kristen brought up this thing that I've been looking into for the last, for working at the newspaper I work at. So it's just interesting. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I love this shit. I love that the inside baseball shit. I love that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, Nielsen's been broken for a long time because DVR has totally changed it.
DVRs, Hulu,
And Hulu, like
Yeah.
I watched
Yeah.
Dollhouse on Hulu because
Yeah.
I don't pay for cable, and now you can't get network anymore.
Right.
and just
And-
plain DVD buyers.
Well, DVD,
Yeah, and I'm
the
a DVD
revenue stream of
person.
That's never getting. I mean, yeah, I don't think they're taking into effect that. Yeah, a show may not be doing great in advertising, but if you sell so many DVDs that's direct money to the corporation.
But the thing, but see, it all ties in with the whole writer's strike, which is
Right.
also going to come up again in 2011.
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah.
I mean, it
Yeah.
is a big deal because what corporations are saying, well, like all that DVD money,
That's just marketing.
No. But a lot of that, all that DVD money is drying up. That's why you see all the studios battling the red boxes and stuff. Because if you can go to those red boxes, you can go and rent it for like a day for $1. Why are people going to buy DVDs? It's a
Right.
big. These
Yahoo
are
just
super,
announced they're doing their $4 movies.
Yeah,
too. They're gonna
these
start
these
selling
are these
in
are
order to
big.
supplement.
Yeah,
their,
and Netflix. Like, I
Right.
don't buy DVDs anymore because I can just
Right.
get it again and again and again
But
on Netflix.
these are all big questions that are really working behind the scenes of sometimes why some of these shows aren't if even with the fans that really like them, but it's all about money.
This is a very exciting time to live in, really, as far as people involved with creative stuff, because this is the time when all of intellectual property is being redefined legally as to what it is, who owns what they should get for doing what they do. It's actually really exciting. It's going to change the way we experience entertainment. And I know I sound like an ad for something, but it's true.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
And
it really is.
The other thing that's interesting about Chuck is that this was a case where it wasn't just like someone put up a petition and in a Facebook group saying "Say yes to Chuck." No, they actually like sent physical letters. They showed up in person.
Yeah.
If the networks ignore you when you have your little website saying "Sign
Right.
here if you think
Yeah.
that this show could
Yeah.
continue."
And honestly, those emails get ignored by
the people did
everyone.
the same thing for Arrested Development and Jericho
Yeah.
and Pushing Daisies.
And,
But this
and
one-
Jericho is one
Family
of the
Guy.
huge ones that they were able to get the push to
The
bring
big
it back.
thing, the
love
big
how-
thing with Chuck.
I just love how Harris's impersonation of the general internet fan apparently sounds exactly like Buffalo Bill. From it signs here.
Well,
It signs here. It gets
Put
the
his name on
hose.
the webcast, or else it gets the hose again.
Hey, he's right. You two do sound a little bit alike.
the Chuck
We've
thing,
got
the
the
specific thing-
we got too many Irish guys. On this.
yeah, we do. I'm glad Jason's sitting out. Of course, we could always just like pass a bottle of Bailey's and calm them all down.
Be like,
Wait
hey,
until they fall asleep.
hey, Bo and Harris are talking too much. Roll a bottle of Jameson into the other.
It's like sucking fresh cream from an udder from a cow that's been fed nothing but whiskey.
I like that. But to get back on track, just because we got a lot of shows to cover, Chuck in season 3 is going to introduce Brandon Routh, who's playing the new
Superman.
mentor
Superman.
who's playing the new mentor, super spy who leads Operation
anymore.
Bartowski, the ones who run sort of monitor him. And of course, not only is he a mentor to Chuck, but naturally,
He's a rival for the affections of.
Sarah.
Sarah,
Because
thank
how
you.
could he not be? Because the worst mistake any TV show can make is make the sexual tension go away. And now Leog is gonna say, no, I can't. Because I'm having sex with Jason, I said it.
There we go.
More than
Is that why he's not talking?
it's true. Well, it's because his mouth is full.
Because he's sucking your dick and eating a spaghetti dinner at the same time.
But
God.
That's not sanitary.
I hope that picked up what you just
How would
said,
you know?
Greg.
on the side, it's got the characters in the Buy More, who were the one thing I still didn't really like about the show. My one stickler was like,
I
wow.
like the Buy More.
I was
man.
like, it was cute, but it went on for too long. I was like, guys, who gives a shit? There's a major spy shit going on here, and you care what the romance is going on between his
Dude,
loser
I
friends?
gotta tell you, I disagree with you. I like the Buy More stuff. To me, it never really intruded on the other stuff. Matter of fact, they always found creative ways to weave it into the main story.
It wasn't awful, but it was to the point where I was like, I would be watching it and going,
And
please
every
get
time
back
they
to
did
the
Buy
main
More
story.
stuff, it reminded me of the 40-Year-Old Virgin.
See, I think it grounds it. I think that seeing his regular life going on, whether he's there or not, you're like, okay, that's right. There's something he wants to get back to.
It did at first, and now it doesn't. By the time you're
Yeah.
halfway through the second season, it's just annoying. You're like, you know what?
Okay.
Really, who cares at this point about what's going on? In the
I
background?
didn't really like those
Morgan and the
characters,
Asian
yeah.
chick. I wanted to know about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, but they kind of dropped that. It was like, oh
But
yeah.
They did drop it, and then they picked it back up again.
But now he's going to be in Hawaii. He's going to Hawaii, remember, to become a hibachi chef.
Yeah, but he's still on the show, so it's clearly
Yeah,
he's
there's
coming
gonna be
back,
something's
yeah.
gonna happen. Well, I hear they're kind of dropping the Buy More on the whole, but sticking.
Well,
with
yeah,
Morgan
that's part of their
and
whole
stuff.
new leaner
Yeah.
and meaner.
But let's
thing
talk
going
about a
on.
show that Bo
Leaner,
knows
meaner, and
about.
fueled by delicious Subway
Oh, you're
sandwiches.
going to skip that other one?
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about Dollhouse because I know that this is a show Bo
Oh,
actually.
damn,
But
dude.
I wanted to
Already
talk
took my
about
pee
Ray
break.
Park's sizable arc.
Yeah, what about it? Here, I wasn't going in order in case you didn't notice. Yes, Heroes is coming back on Monday, September 21st. If anyone cares.
I think there's only one important thing to note about this, and that is that you have an entire page. He has his notes pulled up on his big TV that we can all see, and he has an entire page devoted to Lost, and he has like half a line devoted to Heroes, and all it says is Ray Park has a sizable arc. That's all you guys need to know.
Yeah, that's
Moving
really
on.
it. That's it. I got nothing else to say about that except,
Seriously.
wow, why are you still watching this shit?
If I was Jewish, I would tear my clothes as far as Heroes.
Yeah.
It's dead to me.
What does it tell you that I'm a giant superhero fan? I'm a giant episode, like TV running series, running storyline fan, and I can't sit through a single episode of fucking Heroes anymore.
That you have halfway decent taste.
They brought
I
on
mean-
Brian Fuller, and then he just left.
Yeah,
right after.
Brian Fuller, one of my favorite creators and writers, and yeah, no, it's like, wow, even he's like, well,
bounced.
I think
Well,
this
sure.
is dead.
If you were on the Titanic, you'd get off too.
Yeah,
I mean, look, Leon is all about forgiveness and giving people second, third, and fourth chances. And Heroes
is.
got a fifth chance. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm done.
yeah.
So Dollhouse.
Dollhouse.
Yes,
To
I'm
show-
excited about
Yeah,
Dollhouse,
I'm excited
of course.
about it too. Dollhouse, and you were mentioning this earlier. Dollhouse actually got renewed because the head of Fox said, "Look, I just didn't want to have to sort through 111 million emails the day after the announcement it was canceled came, so we just decided to skip that part and just
Fuck
renew it for
yes.
a second season."
Fuck yes.
Well, they're the ones who
Shine on,
fucked
you
over
crazy
Dollhouse
nerds.
in the beginning of the season anyway.
they did.
Well,
They
they're-
forced it to be
God.
Fucks
episodic.
over almost every fucking
Yeah.
show. If
Yeah.
they put you on Sundays after The Simpsons so you can get an audience, and then they go like, oh, well, now that 3 people are watching a show, we'll move it to Tuesdays, but not tell anybody.
Well, Bo and/or Christian, here's your Kristen, not Christian. Kristen,
no,
here's your chance to
Kristen.
shine. Why don't you talk a little bit about what Dollhouse is about for those who haven't seen it?
Sewn up. Dollhouse is
The Gauntlet.
about. Basically, you can basically rent a person out to be programmed to do whatever you need. So if you need a spy, or you need a date, or you need whatever your wildest fantasies or needs.
Oh,
this
strip
person-
club,
A
right?
whore.
No.
I need me a whore.
Well, it can be, and they play that up a whole lot. But say you need someone to break into the FBI for you, or say they.
Yeah, I just need a whore.
I do
Well,
need
you
someone
can
to break into the FBI
Yes, but
for me.
they're very
They're
fancy
very
whores
expensive.
that you can program.
I
to
tell you
actually
what,
do
Leon.
horrible things to you.
There's plenty of other places you can find whores.
Dude, 50
like
bucks
Craigslist.
on SoCal will do the same thing.
But where can you find a whore that can
you can
break
also
into
find serial
a
killers
bank?
there.
And that's how the show, avoids the whole like, well, why aren't people just buying these things to have sex with? Because they're really, 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 really expensive.
Oh,
and
Leon
so-
is cheap.
Yeah, and there we go.
Leon
But
wants,
what it is
Why did
When
you start
Leon
going
wants-
third person all of a sudden?
when Leon wants to get a nut from a hot chick, he can do it for less than $100 million.
True.
anyway, anything can be downloaded into this person. Personality, certain knowledge,
Leon sperm.
anything. Anywho,
Sorry, it was there. I took
Continue.
it. I couldn't help it. I was on a roll.
This is the challenge you must face.
It wasn't there. You had to give Leon a reach around, grab it, and then thrust it into
I
the
milked
conversation.
him.
Man, God pity the poor person who steps up to explain
when
something.
will I remember to bring my fucking dart gun? When? Fuck. Anyway,
Please continue.
the catch is
We have more jokes.
they have pulled all these personality knowledge traits from actual living people. So the catch is, well, we download the super spy, but well, with that personality matrix, you got a germaphobe. So, I'm gonna go super spy, but I'm a germaphobe. I'm using this example. So that's how it starts out. Like, well, you've got this spy, but you've got some crazy other thing with it. And the main character is Eliza Dushku, whose character name is Echo. What you find out is she starts, her personality programming starts not working, and she begins to start remembering who she really is. And you find out
in
that
bits and spurts.
in bits and spurts, and you find out everyone in the dollhouse, they signed up to have this done to them for some reason, whether it was they were running for something or something horrible happened, or
Ooh,
maybe
La Femme Nikita.
they were
Yeah,
gonna
exactly.
they were gonna like go to jail or do this instead. And so you find out everyone is actually signed up to do this. And it becomes more and more interesting. And what I love about Joss is that he has his pool actors he draws from, and you're always like, oh, this person's gonna be Wash, or this person's gonna be Amy Acker. And
Does
these
Alan
people,
Tudyk show up?
he does.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, awesome!
I'm not gonna
Does
tell
he
you.
ever?
I'm kidding.
I'm-
Spoil it.
I've
yeah,
seen it.
I'm not going to spoil it for you, but
Oh, you
but
bastard.
when they come in, they are
Leon
not their
might.
previous characters. They are brand new, and they do an excellent job, and you don't even remember they were in other shows.
It couldn't be a more different type of role for Alan Tudyk, in
And
particular, and Amy
he
Acker as well.
Is awesome. I can't recommend it enough. The problem with Dollhouse is you have got to get through the first 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Gritting your teeth and crying the whole way.
first-
Actually, the real
episodes.
problem with Dollhouse is you have to get through the opening credits of the most incomprehensibly named cast that has ever been assembled.
It's true. It's
There is
true.
no one there that has like there are some names that look like it's just an amalgamation of consonants and like a chemical symbol from
And
the
who names a
periodic
kid
table.
Tamo, for God's sake?
And speaking of that, and speaking as well of former Joss people coming into the show this season, we've got Alexis Denisov,
Yes!
who is going
Oh, how I hate
I was
him!
waiting for that. I was waiting for that.
who was
He
of course
deflowered your nerd goddess, people. Get
Somebody
over
was
it.
gonna marry her.
Yeah,
They
he's
have a baby
married-
now.
He's still pure. That was artificial insemination.
He's
I will
married
kill
to
all of
Allison
you.
Hannigan from Buffy. They were both on Buffy
I
and Willow.
love that. It's a
Buffy and
Buffy
Angel.
marriage. It makes me happy. My happy
He's
parts.
going to be playing Senator Daniel Perrin for whatever that means in the first episode.
And
of the
who else
pilot
are we
episode.
getting? Who else are we getting?
Summer Glau will appear in at least 2
yeah, I love
episodes
her.
as a
Ozzy,
character
she's
named
playing a
Bennett.
crazy chick, pretty damn high.
She played, what was it, River in Firefly?
River in
River
Firefly.
River,
Does that
River
mean
Tam
that
in
the
Firefly?
Terminator show got canceled?
But there's also going to be
Yes,
more characters in
sadly.
Battlestar Galactica, or more actors in there.
Yeah,
showing
well,
up in
the
here
one
as
of the
well.
main stars is the guy who played Halo on on Battlestar.
And now
Galactica.
we're going to have the actor who played Apollo, Jamie Bamber, and the character who played Colonel Saul Ty from
Oh, man, I forgot he
Michael
was gonna play
Hogan.
Oh, but we should
Above
also
Ray.
mention they're going to start this second season off with the unaired episode from last season, which stars Felicia Day.
Are
Which
they doing
is-
that? That's good because that show was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Which,
It was
yeah,
really
if you
good.
if you guys were fans of the show and you didn't rent this box set to check out this final episode that wasn't aired, you're missing out.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
it's
huge.
amazing,
Oh my
and just
God.
to give you a small clue as what happens, it's set well ahead in the future. So all of everything that happens because of the Dollhouse has already happened, and it's great because had Dollhouse not been picked up for a second season, this would have given you a nice closure and be like,
Yeah.
okay, well that's what eventually happens. But to start off a second season with, this is what's going to happen in the future. Let's see how we get there. I think that's really interesting to me.
Yeah,
No, I agree.
if you're one of those people who didn't watch who watched a couple Dollhouse episodes and just like, I'm not into it, Give another shot on season 2 because I bet episode 1 will hook you in because it's a really
It's
great launching
fascinating.
point. Yeah.
I mean, I almost gave up on Dollhouse. It took 4 or 5 episodes, and I was like, I don't want to watch it. I don't want to watch this anymore. It's getting horrible. And finally, 6 picked up, but you have to have watched the first 4 episodes to get it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were saying 6, but I'm like, you know what? It was episode 4. I went, you know what? Okay, this is getting better. Episode 5 is when I fell in love with it. And
Well,
I
I'll tell
went,
you,
this is great.
the
It's
sticking
funny how many
point.
shows are like that because I felt the same way with Mad Men.
I felt that same way with Mad Men. I felt that same way with Fringe. But you know, it's getting to that point now where these shows, because of the fact that they're building up, they realize that they're building one long story and they're character based.
Yeah.
It does take a little while for it
Yeah.
really to gel,
Well-
and you don't want to jump right on to
Yeah,
the
they're-
good stuff
They're
either.
putting their foundation in. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
they're putting the foundation
The
in.
thing that just drove me nuts the first 4 episodes, and I was watching it with a friend of mine who doesn't watch this kind of stuff, and this is why he didn't want to watch it more either, was that it would pick one stupid phrase, and they would reuse it every 5 minutes for the rest of the fucking episode.
Was
and
it
was
werewolf? Werewolf?
Like, no, it wasn't.
Wow, did anybody hear that closet creak when it was being opened? I think a bat flew out.
I never actually minded the first few episodes. I thought it eased into it, and I thought, oh, okay, I see the bigger picture of where the potential for this show could be in Dollhouse, and I enjoyed moving into it as it revealed the bigger story, and I think a lot of shows do that.
Yeah,
And
So I
also-
wasn't annoyed.
When with Joss's stuff, like, to me, you really got to start getting that supporting cast in before his stuff picks up. And the first 4
Yeah.
were all Eliza Dushku, who I love, but
Yeah.
you really need that supporting cast to help bring it all
Well,
together.
it's partially the fault of Fox themselves. If you
They were
watch-
meddling.
If
You
you
can
watch
tell.
the original pilot, which is included on the
I
box
haven't
set,
watched that yet. I actually have the
it's
box
it,
set.
it starts off the ground running, and you're like, wow, this would have been much better because it really gives you a feel for how exciting
thought the
and
second
different
episode was
and
supposed to be the
edgy
pilot.
this was. No. The pilot was never aired. The original pilot.
Yeah, they shot another pilot
Yeah,
for it.
they ended up shooting.
and
swear
then
to
they
God.
showed that episode to the second episode, I think. I don't think they showed the pilot first, did they?
Well,
or did they?
The second pilot they shot became the second episode, yes. But
Okay.
but the first pilot was never aired. It's
Yeah.
only on the box set. And you watch it and you're like, wow, this is what they should have gone with. But the studio, Fox, still not understanding the way things are these days with television fans. We're like, well, no one's gonna really understand that. And it seems like this is going a lot of ways and not all the questions are answered. Like, this isn't a movie. It's the
Yeah.
beginning of a television
The
show.
people that run us are stupid, and thus everybody else is stupid too.
I just
Yeah.
don't get how you can be Fox and be like, wow, Joss Whedon has a very specific fan base that will watch anything he does. They're not going to like it if you do your regular style. Like, what?
I
Really?
swear to God, somebody comes to me and say like, "Man, my show got picked up for the network." I'd be like, "Dude, that's awesome! Congratulations, throw you a
Network's
party."
Fox.
What channel? Fox. I'd be like, "Oh, I'm
Call
sorry."
me in a year.
Yeah.
and then we'll celebrate.
Yeah.
Assuming. Well, you know what? It's time for one of our other members to get his chance.
Oh,
to
Lord, here we
shine.
go.
Oh, we got to talk about Melrose Place? The new Melrose Place?
My God, there's like.
Wait, we don't talk about this show enough.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
No, everything else has like about a 3 or 4 sentence description up on the screen here. This is an entire fucking page.
There was no madman up
more
page.
than one page.
there. Was no madman up there. There's no hung.
It's
Well,
like-
that's because I knew you'd know what to say.
When we
about
called it Lost, we weren't
Nope.
referring to the characters. We were referring to the plot.
that. Which is easy for you to say since you've never actually seen
Exactly.
You know-
it is easy for me to say.
honestly,
and
Bo-
I will say it a lot.
Bo, I just so want to stop you from doing that because
I know, I'm gonna
because
love it when I
eventually,
see it,
yeah,
yeah.
when you do watch it, I mean, look,
When you find your foot in your mouth.
it. Yeah, no, for a guy who loves so many
hey, stop.
eclectic, not
if you
generally
could allow
popular
me
things.
for just like a
Go
moment
ahead.
for a Vulcan mind meld.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Bo.
By all means.
You
No,
know,
I've never at any point said, "Wow, this looks like it's really bad and it sucks." I'm just like, "God damn, this thing's convoluted." And I love convoluted. That's no problem at all. I mean,
know-
I read the Silmarillion once a year for fun. So, no biggie.
He has it tattooed on
I'm
his
good.
back in
Yes.
shorthand.
I know. Yeah, there's my body is filled with Syndron.
I mean, you know what simpatico you and I have.
Oh yeah, no.
And of all these things that you and I both enjoy, this is one of those things I would go like, Bo, I am coming to you because I know that you would be all over this.
I've been trying to tell him the same thing. We lived together for over a year. And I was like, please, the box sets are all here. Just watch it. For God's sakes. But I think it's got to the point now that you're just not watching it because it pisses
It's
us
fun
off.
not to watch. I'll wait
No,
till
no,
the
I
August
completely
over.
understand that. There was a point when I hated to mention that I don't watch Battlestar Galactica because people would go off on me. Oh my God, how are you not watching this?
And then
after a while, it's
then it
because,
becomes
like,
a heady feeling.
I don't know.
Like you're the asshole at the party. It's like, yeah, I don't really like the Beatles.
I don't know. I'm a
Dick.
lost virgin too, and I'm kind of worried about the fact when a guy who loves Claremont's X-Men is telling me this is too complicated and hard to follow.
But okay, so we're gonna get into this so we can get through it and talk about other TV shows because we
Well,
don't wanna
Lost
talk
doesn't even
about
come
this
until
Lost.
next year. I'm surprised we're even talking
Well,
about
because
this.
they made a lot of announcements recently about it. And this
Okay.
is just the TV episode.
a lot
I
of
didn't say
stuff
this
isn't
was
starting
just
next
about
year,
TV
yeah.
starting in the next month. It's the TV episode.
right, fine.
We're
yeah.
talking about stuff
Exciting
like what's
stuff.
happening next. Like, of course, next season is the last one. It's season 6. It's going to be 18 episodes, starting with the episode in late January or early February, ending in May.
or early February. What the fuck?
Well, they did their.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what they're saying now. It's like,
Ugh.
yeah, I know. Originally it was mid-January. Now it's late January or early February.
damn it.
But with what they keep saying, and they've been saying this since season 1, quote, a highly anticipated, which is awfully optimistic of them, and shocking finale. The idea being that a lot of people are going to be mad, but a lot of people are going to be happy. And with Lost, I don't know what that means.
believing. Oh, sorry. Was that me?
Hold on
sorry.
to that feeling. But they have, even since Comic-Con, made a lot of announcements like that. Don't spoil anything. Just say, look, if you were worried about this, don't be worried. They've specifically said they're going to wrap up the mysteries. Of
I want
They're
them to-
really prepping us. Like,
I want them to
something's
come
gonna
out and
happen.
say, we saw the season finale of Battlestar Galactica,
Yeah,
and we
know what
won't do
went
that
wrong.
to you.
Well, they said
Yes,
they're going to
God.
solve the nature of the smoke monster, the four-toed statue, the identity of the skeletons from the season 1 episode.
I never expected that.
Rose and Bernard.
Yeah. Matthew Fox said recently that in the final season, him and John Locke come just head to head. They just have it out.
And then
Yes!
they make out.
Yes. So, and then they totally
Like
fuck.
they're gonna fight and he's gonna pull he's gonna try and shoot him in the head.
I don't know.
He's going to make him put those glasses on.
He's going to strangle him because Locke apparently gets
Where are
off
these
on
glasses,
that.
nerd?
Now it's saying a third of the way through the final season, the two timelines that they, the last season was,
Yeah.
are going to kind of like
Merge?
Are going to be merging into one single timeline.
I figured that's gonna
and it'll
happen
be
pretty soon.
and it'll be what's at a third of the way through it. So I mean,
Really?
18 episodes. You do the
That's
math.
episode 6.
Yeah.
Crisis on Infinite Islands.
And it says, yeah, exactly. It says it'll be very linear, no more flashbacks, nothing. He said that both the creator Coos has said that both the time travel and flash forward seasons are over.
Yeah,
and
this
moving
has
into
a very
something different for the
specific
sixth season.
theme.
And Josh Holloway, this will make a lot of people happy. It said Sawyer will revert back to being the Sawyer of old, the wise ass womanizing.
I don't think
smart
any of us
guy
really
Sawyer.
stopped.
I liked Sawyer and
Yeah,
Juliet
they-
together. They were great.
I'll
I
tell
did-
you the reason this is gonna happen. And this is because they're gonna
There we
go.
go.
This season is
Wait,
going
everybody
to be.
stop. Shut up. Let him talk.
This season is gonna be
Let
about
the boy try.
alternate timeline, and that therefore we're gonna see the old one.
So they actually
The
said
old
there
one.
are no
it's,
more alternate
it's
timelines.
important to let Grant
This is
share
the
his
final
theories
alternate
because
timeline.
every one of his theories have been wrong.
Yeah, so far you are 0 hits at this point with your theories.
Ouch, guys!
But you know what? Part of my enjoyment of Lost is
watching you
listening
be
to your
wrong.
theories and then watch them get
I know.
disproved.
We'll sit together and watch him, and we'll be like, "Yes!" Not because of what happened on the show, just because we can mark
Damn.
that one off our little note list.
Yeah, be like, Cyrus, take a drink. Grant was wrong again.
I don't have to take a drink. You have to take a drink. I said he'd be wrong. I was playing it safe, and now
Yeah.
I'm dead cold.
Yeah, we're
sober.
like
Hey, have I told you guys I hate you today?
we're like Jacob and Flock. We just
Yeah.
sit there taking drinks on the side of the beach. Yeah, Grant was wrong again. Gulp.
But ABC said 12 of the 14 regular cast members in the 5th season will continue to star on the show, in addition to one new cast member and one who returns from the 4th season. Da-da-da.
Yeah, they have new people.
Mr. Echo.
The latter half of the previous season follows 2 storylines. As such, the cast is
Mr.
roughly divided
Echo.
into 2
Charlie.
groups again. Of course, we're still dealing with those 2 separate groups for a little while. The surprising news is they're listing Juliet still as a main cast
Well, they
member.
said she's going to be back a bunch.
They said she's a primary cast member.
Well,
for the next
it's kind
season,
of
for
ridiculous
whatever
that,
that means.
she's the only one who dies after detonating that bomb, but everyone else is alive.
Well, she is kind of on top of it.
yeah,
she's at ground zero.
but it's not like it's a little bomb that would be self-contained there. And those guys would avoid it.
But still,
Have you ever seen a Steven Seagal movie where people just like kind of ride the concussion?
Somehow, Jin survived being blown up on the freighter.
in
so.
Hollywood, if you are not standing right on top of the bomb, you just fly forward about 10 feet,
it,
hit a
it-
wall.
It gives you a gentle push into the air.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
and
like
then you
jumping on a
land on
trampoline.
water.
It's the new ride at
the Isle of
Disney.
Leaves.
It'll be the new Lost Adventure Island. They just blow shit up.
Yeah,
The end
watch
of every
Commando
ride.
and see how many times Arnold Schwarzenegger is gently lifted into the air without suffering any shrapnel.
Well, my theory of it being an alternate timeline is also goes into the fact that the very first episode they already announced what the title of it is, and it's called La X or LA space X, which implies LAX the airport,
Right.
As well as X marks the spot or whatever else.
Which would say what?
might
It
say.
started in the beginning? Because the beginning
the-
would be in Sydney Airport.
No, they landed.
they took off.
Safely
That thing
landed.
land
Yeah.
successfully.
land in LAX.
I
Yeah,
actually
maybe
think,
it
I
is
think
it.
Grant may be on the money here. I mean, 1 out of 100 times. I
hey man,
guess.
even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Hey, Grant wrote a Hamlet.
I'm never gonna get it right, but it seems to me that the very first season that all these people were meant to be on the island, and it had to be like some weird coincidence that brought all these characters together to land there. Whereas in an alternate timeline, perhaps the final season, we'll see how it makes sense that they fluidly join together and decide to go as a group to the island.
Okay, you
That's what
can
I was-
mark your calendar for this because I'm never
I'm
going to say it
wrong.
again. But Grant might be on to something.
Yeah, no.
What?
Because
It would be important to show us, like, okay, if they hadn't landed on an island, this is what would have happened.
Yeah.
Enough to be where it's so tragic where we go like, oh fuck,
Which
yeah,
there are
that needed to happen.
There are so many complications with that at the same time, and also given the other stuff they're saying, like we're gonna slowly watch these two timelines merge, says to me that okay, maybe he has an inkling of what's going on, but that's not really the picture. Like it's part of it, but only a small part.
Well, shit. The show jumps so ridiculously into all these different things that I mean,
now the show
ridiculously.
is dumb. that it disagrees
yeah, that
with you.
doesn't. agree
Don't
with
get
you.
me
It's-
wrong
it's
with the word
ridiculous.
ridiculous. I just mean it's unpredictable. You can't guess what this show's gonna do.
Well, it has said as
it
well.
proves time and again whatever I think, and I should be right, is wrong.
As backing up your theory, they've said Dominic Monaghan is listed as a main character again in the
Well,
new
he showed up
season.
at Comic-Con.
Everyone's coming
Claire
back.
Littleton is coming back.
Maggie Grace.
Jeremy Davies is going to be
Boone.
back as Daniel Faraday.
Oh, of course he's gonna
Boone,
be back.
Boone is coming back. Maggie Grace, who played Shannon, is coming back. So it's like, how could they
Frogert's
come
even
back?
gonna be back, guys.
No,
We're
the
gonna
thing
see
is,
Frogert.
it doesn't matter if you're dead on Lost. You can still show up.
True.
I mean,
Oh,
they've
no,
had
that's
so
what
many-
I'm saying,
yeah,
though.
so-
But
like
they've
comic
always
books.
done that and never made a big deal of saying,
Yeah.
you know, and now it seems like they're listing them all as primary characters for this
They,
next
Well,
they
shit,
have that
yeah,
banner
true.
where they're
That-
all standing together on the island,
Yeah.
and it looks awesome. There's
And that dude Dimitri, how many times did he die? Like within 3 episodes, and it
Right.
kept coming back.
he's
He's Wolverine.
yeah.
I think it's going to be a wacky slapstick sitcom for the last season, just to really throw people off.
It'll be
Yeah.
like The Prisoner, where everybody just leaves pissed off. Like Damon Lindelof has to go live in New Guinea.
Coming at the end, there's 2 new actors. John Hawkes, who's on Deadwood, is going to be a new regular.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
character.
yeah.
Who
John
was he on
Hawkes.
Deadwood?
Well, he was.
He was the Jewish.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, wow.
He was Timothy Oliphant's side.
Oh,
he was
yeah.
also in
Eastbound and Down.
Eastbound and Down. Thank you. Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
a Japanese actor named Hiroyuki Sanada who.
Dude,
You know
that
who
guy
he
is
is?
fucking awesome.
Well, he's considered to be.
no,
one
I
of the-
have no idea who
No,
that is. I'm sorry.
he's actually considered to be one of the great actors of Japan, apparently. But he's only
another
really worked.
Toshiro
in,
Mifune.
he's only really worked in Japanese films. There's a big film he was in called Twilight Samurai that he was the main character.
There's-
in.
But you
There's
were saying he was
another-
in Dirty Pair.
Well, like I said, no, not that would be a cartoon.
We're teasing the anime episode.
He was a big part of Ninja High School.
That's right. There's gonna be a cartoon character on the last season of Lost. They're
The
really
other-
gonna
Really blow your
It's
fucking
kind
mind.
of Roger Rabbit thing. We're going all out.
The other person they announced that was going to be on Lost is the guy who played the Puppet Master on Heroes, which stupid show, but he
Yeah,
was
I have
actually
no
kind of
idea.
good.
I was already
I don't
gone
know
by
who
that
that
point.
is.
Yeah.
He-
Oh,
he's this
he was actually like
chubby
a really
bald
good
guy
villain.
who,
was he?
yeah,
Yeah.
he's creepy and he was a great
He
actor,
was
even though
totally creepy.
the plot itself was just kind of ridiculous. He did a great job, I thought.
It was one of those things that, yeah, he would show up and be like, wow, this is really good because this guy is genuinely creepy.
Yeah.
And yet,
Lost-
what they end up doing with him was just like, wow, you totally wasted a great character.
Yeah. Lost has their eye for talent though, so Interesting.
But before we get too far involved with TV, I got to bring it back to comics because there's this whole thing going on with DC Comics and Warner Brothers that I got to say something about because we talked about Marvel and Disney last week.
Yeah.
Fine.
Okay, good. Okay. Whew. All right. So I read this whole new article about the whole thing.
What?
What thing?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were going to cut me off.
Why are you looking? My mouth is closed.
Whoa.
You're going to let me talk.
Go ahead.
Well, okay. Now that Disney has bought Marvel, suddenly Warner Brothers has woken up to the fact they're like, oh, wait, we own DC. Maybe we should actually own DC and take a bigger hand in that.
I thought it was more like, hey, everyone's paying attention to Marvel. We gotta make some sort of ineffectual
no, really.
announcement.
Prior to the sale of Marvel to Disney, there were lots of rumors going around that Warner's was going to drop DC Comics.
I thought there was
Really?
other
Yeah.
rumors that they were gonna break them off into a movie company.
Well, yeah, there were definitely. This has been in the
Similar to
works,
Marvel.
but the timing of the announcement came out because of the Disney thing.
Yeah, and then once that happened, they were like, "Oh shit!"
It's not like they willy nilly said, "Okay, quick, let's sign this." You think?
No. They already owned them. They were just like, because you think about it, the whole time they've owned them, Marvel's put out so many movies, and DC, you get Batman Begins,
Yeah.
The Dark Knight, Superman Returns, but nothing else really. You know, they've been focusing on animation and all, but
Yeah.
Warner Brothers just kind of like let them have their own thing, do whatever they want to do. Now with this coming up, Warner Brothers has decided, okay, not only are we not going to let this go, we're going to take a bigger hand in things and really make this like a movie property company for us.
I'm very interested. I think this is a good move.
No.
Oh.
The
If
Marvel
this means
Yeah.
I get my
Counterpoint.
ambush bug movie, I'm a happy man.
the Marvel
Nothing will mean that.
The Marvel
Nothing,
Disney the Marvel Disney buyout, I thought, you know what? This has as much potential to be good as it does to be bad.
Right.
Probably even more to be good. It'll pump money in. Everything I've read about the Disney, I'm sorry, about the Warner Brothers thing, does not sound good at all.
Scares the hell out of me.
It really does. It sounds like the worst of what you expect with one of these. Because like Paul Levitz, who's been like at the head of Warner for so long, and yeah, some people say like, oh, that guy's not that good. He kind of sucks. But they have pushed him down so that Diane Nelson, who was in charge of the Harry Potter franchise, they put her in charge of DC Comics, and her first statement off the bat is like, well, I'm not a comic books fan. I'm not a comic book fan,
Yeah,
but I know what makes.
Oh, fuck Tim Burton.
Yeah, I know what makes for good movie properties.
Oh, boy.
So that's going to be my
Yeah.
focus with DC.
And I
Comics.
don't think she did a great job with translating the Harry Potter books into movies. So.
But-
No,
that
no,
wasn't-
she did a good
yeah.
job of translating the Harry Potter books into money.
hell yeah, she did.
She kept Rowling happy, and that speaks well of her relations with talent. But yeah, when she comes in and she's like, yeah, but the thing is, she's not going to be the head of the DC Comics. They are bringing in a publisher. We just don't know who that's going to be, and the person picking it is someone who doesn't know comics. And
Yeah.
that's a little worrying.
Please
Yeah,
be
it-
Jeff
Well,
Johns.
we don't know for
be
sure.
Jeff
that,
Johns.
We don't know that she's not consulting with the right people.
No,
though.
she's
Go, well,
consulting
who
with
do
Paul
you-
Levitz, but
Okay.
I mean, she is consulting. But ultimately, decision's going to lay with someone who's going to think more of, is this person going to push the comics in the right direction?
Why is
for
Levitt
movies?
stepping down in the first place?
The rumors. I mean, there are nobody knows for sure, but there are rumors that he didn't like some of the changes they were going to make. And
Yeah,
that's
I mean, I read several things. Yeah,
Yeah.
Randy, you're right. Everything I read, several things I read said that like they are planning to make changes that he didn't agree with. I mean, it's the kind of thing where he's like, wow, they're really gonna
At
fuck
the risk
things
of
up,
being
and I
the
don't want
lone
my name on
optimist
this.
in the room, wasn't Bill Jemas like in the same situation when he took over for like editor in chief at Marvel? Like everyone is saying, he's not a comic guy. He doesn't know about the characters.
But he was partnered with
Joe Quesada.
Joe Quesada, who was. I mean, Joe Quesada started as what an inker.
Yeah.
And became an artist and won. He won like best new artist. I mean, this guy really, he did his time in the ranks.
yeah.
And here you have somebody coming in who's like, it makes me nervous every time. And matter of fact, it doesn't just make me nervous, it makes me absolutely scared when somebody comes in bragging about the fact that like, I don't know comics that well. I'm not a comic book fan, like Tim Burton, who did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy who played Captain America in the Captain America movie. He was like,
Ang Lee, who did
yeah,
it with the
Ang
Hulk.
Lee, who did it with Hulk.
Yeah.
These people come in saying that, and it's like that is totally the wrong thing to say.
Well,
and
it's arrogant to begin with.
it's very arrogant.
To
And-
say, like, you know what, we spent all this money for this art form, which I'm sorry, guess what? It's a fucking art form.
Yeah.
And for you to come in and say, basically, hey, man, I don't care about this. Let's face it, these things are for kids, and I'll pick the characters out that'll make money.
Right.
Really? You think that maybe you should read it and figure out what the good arcs and the stories are, and maybe that there was actually some good writing there that would be adapted into things? I mean, how could you possibly judge just based on well, let's face it, what the base description and origin of
Exactly.
a character is, whether or not they would translate well into a film.
And I think of it like, okay, when The Dark Knight came out, it was a bad move to have Batman die, go through R.I.P. However, the whole thing of having Dick Grayson take over as Batman is really fucking cool. To
Has
all of
been
us,
fun.
yeah, for all of us who've read Batman for decades, this is great. Under this new regime, I am totally sure that will get reversed immediately.
Yeah, and some probably not very well.
Everything that's
thought
going
out.
on with Darkest Night that we've been reading for so long.
Blackest Night.
Oh, I'm sorry, Blackest Night.
It's okay. I forget.
Probably say
That's all
goodbye
right.
to
I
that.
get it mixed up between that and
Oh,
Negro
why is that?
Rain as well.
You know, I don't-
Because Warner Brothers has now decided, now that Disney has bought Marvel, we're going to take a bigger hand in DC
Oh, I
Comics.
see.
So I'm not sure if we're going to see quite that level of
Manipulation.
micromanagement.
Bet.
But I'm not convinced we're not. I'm not convinced we're not. But there's still who the publisher is going to make a big difference. If they get, say, Jimmy Palmiotti, who was the other half of Marvel Knights and who in many regards is regarded as the guy who got all the talent on board.
Sure.
Then maybe things will go all right. But Paul Levitz is like the canary in the coal mine. Him stepping down is a really, really frightening thought. It's like,
Yeah.
wait a minute. The guy who really has been protecting comics from Time Warner influence for 20 years just said, yeah, I'm going to go back and write Legion again. That's a little scary.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? This is a fascinating discussion that could go many different ways, and I agree with you that this is something that needs to be addressed. And I hope people, especially in the League Lounge, if y'all are on Spill and you look in the groups, the League Lounge is where we all sit and discuss about this stuff in text form with our fans. Please go check that out. I'm sure there's going to be discussions about this. I hope there are. I want to hear what some of you guys have to say about this and your own opinions about this.
Well, I would say whatever you share with us, share also with DC Comics.
Yeah.
And Warner Brothers.
Yeah, let them know about, spill.com. But
Yeah, I was about to say, you guys sound pretty good at this. You guys should be polishing up your resumes and send them to this chick.
hey, Dan Didio replied to my Facebook message. Damn it!
Did he really?
Yes, he did.
What'd he say? Fuck you.
No, I told him, man, you're doing a great job. Blackest Night looks like it's shaving up pretty well, but man, seriously, you should think about taking a vacation at this point. And he's like, that's pretty funny. Actually, I am taking one right as soon as this is over. Thanks. And I was like, wow, he actually read my message.
But you're like, yeah, but I meant don't come back.
No, I didn't mean that.
That's what I
He's
meant.
no Joe Quesada. But anyway,
He's almost.
that's going to be it for this episode of Leog, but we didn't even come close to covering all the television shows we want to, so we'll be back in a week with part 2 of the television preview.
More TV.
And,
But we will not get to your favorite TV show.
Most likely not.
It's just
might.
not going to happen.
Yeah, well,
can happen.
we're going to talk about what's happening next season with Guiding
We're going to talk about what's
Light
happening?
You guys
and All My
awesome.
Children and General Hospital. No,
You
we're
guys
not.
do not know how to do a teaser. You don't tell people like, hey, come back next week while we don't do anything you want us to do.
We're going to talk about British soap operas.
EastEnders.
EastEnders, I was gonna say that.
Ages.
Neighbors, I've been dying to talk about that.
My stories.
But in all seriousness, we'll be talking about Flash Forward, which is the new show that looks pretty exciting from a lot of the same people at ABC who did Lost. And we'll be talking about the new V miniseries. We'll talk about the Cleveland show.
All right.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff to talk about. So tune in. In the meantime, though, for this week, I've got to say a fond adieu.
And long live the league.